Good afternoon. So today we're going to try to make it very exciting because we're going to talk about artificial and eventually intelligence. I have quite a few guest speakers with me who are basically intelligent. I'll try to, okay, and I'll try to be the least artificial in my moderation. So I'll let each one of them introduce themselves, and then we'll launch the conversation. Vanessa.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Shapiro, CEO of Nicely Entertainment. We are a production company based in the US. We also are a worldwide distributor. So we do mostly television movies and TV series. I founded the company in 2020, so we just celebrated our 5th anniversary. And very pleased to be here. And I'm French originally, and I've been in the US for almost 30 years now. So,
Leaf.
That's why you confuse us with both French and English. Yeah. My name is Leif Holst Jensen. I'm here at the festival due to I'm in the pre-selection jury and been that for 10 years. I used to be working for the Norwegian Producers Association, organizing all the production companies. Now I'm the Dean of Faculty for Film, TV, of Games of the National kind of Film Schools in Norway, where we're working, or at least investigating into AI, so I'm going to go back to this. I also am the CEO and chairman of a production company called Up North that also here many years ago won a Golden Nymph, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thomas.
And my name is Thomas Demanteris, and I'm the producer at France TV Studio, the subsidiary company of France Télévisions.
Thank you. So I'll start, but a generic question to all of you. How do you see AI reshaping or shaping your next productions? Is it for you an add-on, an evil, or simply a tool?
I'm starting. For me, it's definitely a tool. And also we've been using it, again, we're in the television movie business and TV series, so it's lower budget than the big theatrical productions. So Hollywood has been using VFX and AI for a long time now. And for us, we're trying to use it as a tool to reduce our cost of production. And I know Thomas is going to be discussing that a little bit more than me because he's been using it a lot, the green screen, etc. But from the development on to the physical production at every single stage, you can use the tool now. So it's actually, even though there's a love-hate relationship now in Hollywood with AI, we're trying to find the right balance and trying to use it, yes, more and more.
For you, Leaf.
Well, it was a really big question you popped. I would say that for us as educators, AI and training the students to understand the impact of AI to the industry and how they will be able to work in the industry in the next 5 to 10 years is tremendously important. I think our industry is far too expensive, and I think I fear that we're all dinosaurs protecting our jobs at the current positions, because I think that AI is, with other people using AI, will totally interfere our value change. And I think we need to unlearn how we have been training and working in the industry to be able to adapt to new ways to work. So it's quite a big challenge to our industry. And we started, we were on a game school, a film school, and a TV school. And the game school and the game industry has been using machine learning and AI tools for decades. And we see that the staff in the film school is avoiding to get into AI. We see that they are afraid of their skills and the kind of monopoly of competence that they've had and that they've also had in the industry. And I fear that we are not really adapting quickly enough. And I think we need to adapt as humans to be on top of it, to not be replaced. I think that the last panel was conservative, really conservative about the impact on AI to marketing. And I have such a lot of examples now of how things can be replaced in the industry, which is dramatic. And just the last release of VO3 that was done a few weeks ago, if you've seen the quality of VO3 and you saw the opening scenes of yesterday's drama series that was released, it could totally be done by VO3 with a good director, good VFX people, and a good editor. And the sound quality of those tools are now totally at professional level, at a high level, European level as I know it. So we really need to get up and understand what's going on.
Thank you, Thomas.
I share a lot of point of views of what's just been said. As Leif said, I've been working for the past 30 years on reducing the cost of fiction and enhancing the quality of it while I reduce it. And in order to keep the staff around me, the idea was to make sure I had enough money to pay all of them and that we had enough production value so the channels would be happy. So this is what AI will push us to do more and more and more, as Leif said. We have to accept that the industry is changing. It has been changing since the beginning. What Méliès did at the beginning, we do things that look alike, but we also do things that are really different from that. So thinking that the industry wouldn't move is a crazy thought. It will move. I remember when Collateral with Tom Cruise came out, everybody was saying that you cannot make a movie with HD cameras, that it was horrible. And I think it's Tom Cruise's best movie ever made, because he's an evil guy in it, which he never is. But the movie is great, and actually at the time, they chose something. They chose to put the entire action during the night, because the HD cams were really doing their best in the night shots. Day shots, not so much. So the movie has almost none. And that's what we have to do with AI. We have to adapt with what the tool can bring us, see how we can use it into the production, and think about new ways of showing things to the audience while we think about what the AI can do. So to see, to rethink our job as producer as a conversation with the audience, and using those tools, as Vanessa said, is a great way to think of a new way to talk to them, to bring them new type of images, some that you couldn't do before. So it's, on one side, it's kind of great, and on the other side, it's going to change the industry for a long period of time, and we'll probably never go back to where we went.
So, if I understand everything all three of you said, in your mind, AI is basically a tool which would reduce cost, but not reduce the creativity of the humans. It is strictly a help, and also enhances probably the time frame you need to do a production. I remember one of my first production was a movie called Tron. To do the effects of Tron, not only we needed a room as big as this for the Cray computers, but it took us almost 3 months for the data for one frame. Today we could do Tron probably in a week with the speed of the new generation. So for you, AI not only speeds up your productions, reduces your cost, but as Leif said, the professors are more traditional and still either fight the use of AI rather than bring it on as a new evolving add-on to everything you do. So what are your thoughts on what I just put together?
First of all, I do agree with Leif. on, I'm the older generation, right?
Well,
So
not
I
compared
see
to
my
me.
kids. Well,
I could be your
but
father.
I'm talking compared to my kids and, Gen A, Gen Z. They're growing up with this. For them, it's natural, it's organic. By the way, I do completely agree with Thomas. It's here to stay. So get used to it. Get on the AI train. It's not going to stop. You just have to embrace it. Now, how we use it, how we embrace it, that's the whole question. And I know we talked about it a little bit on the copyright issues, the ethical issue, the physical. There's so many questions we can discuss on the subject. But every single young person, and I think I talked to a couple of the students that are here last night briefly, and I mentioned to them, I said, you have to use AI, you have to embrace it, and you have to specialize in it, because I had a couple of students come to me in past years, and they were so proud of showing me like their drawings, for instance. And they spent hours. It took me 4 months to do this like beautiful graphic on the computer and look at the details. I'm like, yes, that's beautiful, but I'm sure I can type on the AI thinking and come up with the posters that will take me maybe 5 minutes to do. Maybe not as detailed as them, but that's the truth, and that's what's happening. So and I'm sure if you see that every day in your school, and the professors, maybe they should be a little bit more inclined to use it and to teach it, because I think the kids today, that's the new generation, and that's what they're going to be using. That's going to be the new normal.
Right.
So it's not normal to me, by the way. I'm still not going to ChatGPT whenever I need to write something, because it's not a reflex. I don't have that reflex yet. I think, Thomas, you do have the reflex, and we talked about it. Yeah. I don't. And sometimes it's like I'm having a development meeting with my staff, and we're like, okay, what should we do for next year for another Christmas movie? Like, knowing that there are over 100 Christmas movies every year being released in America alone. We make about 15. So coming up with new subjects every year, we have to brainstorm. And sometimes my staff is like, well, just go on ChatGPT. Just put like a couple of words and see what comes up. And that's how it comes up. Then we have to go through the process, the development process, and we take it to a human being. But sometimes now my staff is using it. And again, I don't have the reflex. I'm like, oh, I wish I had thought about just putting those words into it. It would have been faster. But it is what's going to happen now. Mm-hmm. So right now, we're not replacing any human beings, and I'm still in the very traditional television business.
Actually, since I use it and we use it for a lot of VFX, we hired people. We hired more people than not using it. It allowed us to do more. It allowed us to do different things. So probably at some point we'll see a shift. People from the on the stage, will probably will move on the set. Will probably move on the VFX side, of course. But there will still be people making those movies. There will be still people on set. There will still be people on the post-production side. There'll probably be more on the post-production side than there was before, and a little less on the shooting set. But I think for a long time we're not going to be replacing the entire system, and we're probably not be willing to, for many reasons. It's as Leaf said, VO3 is great. It does stuff. It does incredible stuff. Does it do what I'm expecting from a movie and from an actor? For now, not really, not always, and not in every acceptance of what an actor is. Like an extra, maybe soon to be replaced. The central actor of the show, not so soon, I think. So it will be an adaptation. It will be a new way of learning how to use those tools, and we'll be surprised, I'm sure.
I feel a bit sorry for my teachers, where I use them as a example of how we as an industry is not really grasping the moment or are like being on top of the situation. But I think I was here 2 years ago discussing, because we have started a bachelor in AI with related to the game school, and we have been now establishing. We just last week received money from the government to establish a research center for AI and creativity across the art schools in Norway, with architecture, music, graphics and others, because we need to go into and see how this affects our industry. I still think like our core competence in Norway or in Europe or wherever is the understanding of the relationships between people and the human context. And that's still a discussion, can that be replaced or not? But like a worst case scenario is that Google knows everything about all of us, totally, and Google, they lack the directors and people to tell the stories, but they have all the tools to be able to produce a feature film or a series based on the knowledge of the audience in every region in the world. Maybe not in China yet, but they would know everything about how they would produce things for specific audiences in Europe. And they could, with the new tools, within a year or two, be able to totally produce those series themselves and distribute them on platforms that we are not aware of today. I'm not saying that this is going to happen immediately, but it's completely possible. Remy has a tool analyzing the trends of the European audiences and series. Those tools can be applied and used to tell the stories. And still, I mean, if you really scan every one of us and you would have a face recognition, you would be able to replace artists or actors, and we as audience would not really notice. I told one, we had a discussion here 2 years ago with an American actor, and said, you should think of yourself more like Jeff Koons as an actor. You have to license your face, license your voice. You have to take artistic control, but then you can participate in more different movies or series, crossover, and you can still gain artistic control. And I think it's really important for us as audience that there is human flesh and blood, that these actors are really actors and not just artificial actors. That is also at the moment being established. I was trained now, I just did a so-called mini MBA at the Danish Film School with Scandinavian really high-level producers and directors and people working on it. And my discussion there was that one of the producers, he wanted to create, to be able to retain his business, he wanted to create 5 new virtual stars that he could put into reality shows or whatever. And he thought that that might be his business idea. But then we had a big discussion, but what is the context of these artificial characters that we're building? Do we need it or not? But I think that we really need to understand that our value chain is interrupted, and you don't necessarily need to everyone to work in the post-production, because I think that the creation of content now, we have been so driven to read scripts. All the features and series, we've been working with script writers. We get the funding from the scripts. But now you can totally get the funding from the visuals, and you can create the visuals immediately. So I think that the way to evaluate projects is going to change totally.
It is a bit changing, but also what I experienced, and I don't know on your side, Vanessa, but it's when you feed today AIs with questions, or you're expecting for scenarios or idea of scenarios. Right now, we're still a bit short. I mean, it brings, as you said, the best of everything it found, but most of the time it lacks something. And as you said, this will probably not last for a long time. At some point, they will find a way to create the sparkle in us. But for what I read right now, I see great ideas. I see thoughts that are being like brought together with a kind of correspondence. I'm telling you, if you do this, the character should do this, and like so. There is a form of interpretation, but it still is something kind of
Synthetic.
yeah.
Well, we really use it as a starting point. So sometimes, again, as a brainstorming, is like becoming an assistant, like another person in the room, right? You're asking, what do you think about this? And what if we do that? What it should look like? And then maybe we have 10 different ideas and we're like, oh, we didn't think about that one, but we already thought about the other ones, right? So for us, that's how we use it. But you're absolutely correct, Tom, I agree with you. The next step for us on the development side is like, okay, I think we got the idea now we want to do. We call a writer right away. It's like, this is what we want to do. Can you start writing a treatment? We don't ask ChatGPT to write the treatment. We write, the writer is still doing it. So, but I really think within the next 5 years, we'll be there, because AI is like a monster feeding itself from all the information and all the data that it receives. You said Google, but again, I feel like I'm aging myself, or I'm not very tech savvy. My husband is very tech savvy. I'm not. We have a YouTube channel, nicely. And we use the Google tool to see who's watching where our movies. And I'm amazed how you can drill down to the city level, to the age group, female, male. It's mind-blowing to me that you can actually drill down to that kind of level of details. Like one of the movies that we have, we launched it worldwide. For some reason, got a huge, the biggest country was Indonesia. And I'm like, really? Female in Indonesia out of the whole world? That's where we had the biggest audience on this one movie. Completely random to me, right? So we are using this tool, all these tools. It's giving us so much information. I think we kind of like derived from your original question, I'm sorry. But it's
No
very,
worry.
very interesting, because we are using it on a daily basis, knowingly or not knowingly.
So if we go more like future gazing, based on everything you just said, when do any of you foresee either producing 100% AI created projects, broadcasting, programming, or actually having some of your students just go this way? You know, I recently, was a keynote speaker at the AI World Film Festival, and I was amazed at the quantity of project that was submitted for, and some were really good, and not only animation, full-fledged, created
Almost
product.
full-fledged.
Almost, yes, almost. So, if we look into the future, you said about 5 years, but as a whole, would you produce 100% AI created projects?
We have been discussing it, absolutely, with our head of sales, with our head of production. We're not there yet because we don't have the knowledge and the technology in-house to do it. But the other day, a friend of ours shared an online little video done by two journalists from the Wall Street Journal. They randomly decided to create and see how easily it would be for them to create using VO3, how easily it would be for them to create a little movie. And the movie was great. I thought I watched it just like maybe 3 minutes, and then they did a whole breakdown of how they did it, not knowing anything about AI, just being journalists at the Wall Street Journal. And if they can do it, and that was the whole point of the exercise, that means anybody can do it, right? So I think this, again, going back to the new generation, knowing that how much YouTube content and TikTok content they're consuming, there's so much content being consumed, but not on the traditional linear network, right? Online. So people are going to create more and more of this AI because it's easier, it's cheaper, and it's quicker.
The real question is how long is it going to be? Is it going to be cheaper?
Yeah, exactly.
Because there is also the energy cost that will come in place at some point. It consumes a lot of energy. Right now, the large companies who own VO3 in France are paying for those costs, and we don't know about them. But first of all, they have like a really huge environmental cost, and second of all, at some point, they will just have like a money cost. So I don't know if those tools are gonna stay in the end of everybody like they are today, because I think it's probably not possible regarding the resources that we have, and we're also gonna see some of those tools who seems to be accessible to everybody, who will be in the end of professionals in a few years, because only them will be able to pay the cost. So this is one thing. And producing it ourselves, I don't know if they're so easy to produce. Maybe we're not supposed to be there anymore. So
I think we're going to blur the lines totally between professionals and non-professionals. And I think that's also, I mean, they're going to make business models that these tools will be getting the revenue back wherever it's possible to get the revenue back. And I think half the content of TikTok and half the content of Snapchat or things now is more or less AI generated already. And we are doing, when you're asking like, can we do a full movie or not? We have been doing an experiment together with some other partners where we have something we call Cinema Synthetica, where we in 48 hours try to make a short movie, 3 to 5, 6 minutes, where we've hired some of the most established directors of Norway. The last one that was really an interesting one was a 72-year-old director who said that, I so look forward, after being playing with the tools, he made a movie which was quite interesting. After playing with the tools, made a movie, and he said that, I hope that in 2 years' time, I can make a movie with my favorite actor, and he's always difficult to handle on set, so I just need a picture of him and I can make a cool movie with him, and that's going to be fine. And my point is that the quality of the movie that he did now, 3 weeks ago, was totally not possible to make half a year ago. But they use, it's like one director, one VFX artist, and one editor. They get 48 hours and 500 euros. And they can maybe hire an actor or someone, whatever they do. And they've made some tremendous cool movies. One of them won like a contest with out of 4,500 people admitted projects. But it is possible to do amazing things that has a quality that we would, I mean, the animation that was done in the first round, just a little editing, and it would be totally on the level of animated films that could be to any animation festival. And I think that in a year again, the competition between the big players is so strong that we will see that they were going to hire some of the most well-known actors or someone to own their face, to be able to produce content with them. I actually think that it's going to happen. Yeah.
But you wanted to say?
No,
Sorry, I'm like trying to make a doomsday, but that's not. I
But
want
one of
some
the
action here.
One of the things that Thomas just mentioned is that creating, state-of-the-art algorithms in AI, it's very expensive. When we created back in 2008 our first technology, we spent over $20 million to get to what we need. Even so today, if we actually think, especially you producers, of creating a full-fledged feature film, something like Mission Impossible, how much is it really going to reduce the cost? Because you'll have to create those AI, very, very powerful tools. Will it be really an economy?
if you go on Mission Impossible, but there is, if you go on the other movie that are made on the planet right now, the comparison is not so easy to make. But with really large movies like this, with really large numbers to be produced, maybe you're right, and the cost of the energy is not so big in the end. In order to produce some really spectacular scenes, because as Leaf said, you do it like this on VO3, you can do any 20 people coming into a room and starting a shootout everywhere, and it's a few seconds of generation, and you get a great result. So the comparison between those really high budget movies and AI movies using a lot of energy, of course, in the end, you're right, it will be in favor of AI. But for smaller movies, I don't know how long we're going to have this. But as Leaf said, maybe in the end there will be an economy where the actual production will be able to cover the costs. So by the commercialization of the movie itself.
Right.
So.
I think still, I mean, I'm trying to provoke a little also in the discussion, because I think that there will be a lot of conservatism both in the audience and in the industry to how things are, and we still relate a lot to the familiar faces, the familiar way to consume content. But my point is that we really need to work with the tools and understand the tools, and as the professional industry, not leave it to the unprofessional industry players to do this, and that we can. I think that we will lower the cost tremendously, and even we were joking when we had the discussion that okay, human power will be replaced by nuclear power, but I think that still it's going to be much cheaper to do a lot of things with AI than to what costs now is staff and travel. We have a beautiful scenery in Norway. Mission Impossible was shot in one of the fjords. We had a film commission trying to get productions coming to Norway to jump off this cliff. But if you look into the amount of money spent to make Tom Cruise jump off that cliff, compared to the amount of money that would be spent on just doing it in VFX with AI tools. And I think we're like 1,000 times less in cost than the cost of bringing the whole crew and building a huge stage on the cliff of a fjord in Norway. It's like that's going to be so much cheaper.
I mean, we do television movies, so by definition, our movies are lower budget than theatrical. Most cases, especially ours for broadcast television. We've been using green screen and having a public of 100 people, and back in the days you would have 100 background actors, and today with AI, in 1 minute you push a button and you have a full audience. So of course reducing the cost, but also this is also one of the reason the strike 2 years ago now, SAG and WGA, one of the reivindication they had, among others, was the use of AI. Fear, pushback, fear of being replaced, or fear of the usage of their own image and voice from the actors. And rightly so, because you said, you can use any pictures of any actors and put it in an AI movie and have a whole movie with them, and probably with the same voice that they have in real life. And it's the technology is there. So what's the boundary? How to use it? And maybe the actors should basically, again, license their face and their voice, and they would make money that way. But there are a lot of
for not
pushback.
so long.
Yeah, but it's
No,
true.
what I mean by that is just if I mean they could do that, and they're probably going to, and 5 years after that we will have replaced them by totally synthetic faces, because we don't really have a need in the end of that, if that's the goal.
And maybe the next star is going to be an AI character.
At some
probably.
point, yeah. But if we not focus only on the doomsday, There is also the idea that we're going to be able to have contents that are easily shareable all over the world. For when you're American, probably it's not a real problem because your movies have been traveling forever. But when you're French, when you come from Norway, or where you come from
We will all
Denmark,
be speaking French. That's
Yeah.
nice.
it would be probably a lot easier to have the characters in the movies that speak the language of the audience without any kind of trouble, and adaptating everything, the expressions, the face lips, all of that. Today it doesn't work so well, but it's a process going through. And it will probably enhance our capacity to understand each other. So on levels like this, it will be great. We will probably be able to share stories and understand stories from around the world that we couldn't understand today as well, so well. So for that, it might be a good thing. But regarding the cost, if we're looking only for that, yeah, we're going to end up destroying the industry. Of course.
Okay, so my last question before we turn over to the audience for questions. You all mentioned that you definitely want to keep your creative teams and not lose. So, according to you, what new skill sets should we teach, train the young or people who want to be in our industry, which do not exist yet? Especially, Leaf, are you already figuring out new educational programs?
To be honest, I don't know, because I want that discussion to be like open, and I think we need to reflect on it together, because I challenge the Producers Association, the Film Workers Guild, the Writers Guild back home, because I think we have had a kind of conservatism also in the industry, where we are taking in all the challenges of AI in the world and making that blocking the reality of how AI is affecting our industry. I mean, we did a documentary called I, Human in 2019, which was also on social control and autonomous drones and all this. That is also a part of AI. But I think AI and the film industry or television industry, we need to understand how it affects us, and we cannot really stay out of that discussion because we don't like social control in China, or we don't like how it can automatically make drones kill people. But I think it is easier for AI to learn and to unlearn than for us as human beings to both learn and unlearn. And it's an interesting thing. So we have emotions related to what we know. So our competence is something that we hold on to because we have grown it in such a long time to get there, and it's easier to replace it, as I said, within AI and in technology. So I think that we need to kind of discuss what is competence, what is learning. We have way too many years in universities have been kind of reproducing knowledge that someone had from before and not necessarily been growing new competences. And I think that's the important thing for us now, is to really understand how will this affect, how can this affect, and how can I use my skills to understand how will I as a human being try to tell stories and relate to an audience in the future.
So
I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah.
Thomas and Vanessa, when you're putting your crews together, is there new skill sets that you're looking for now because of AI that you were not looking for in the more traditional production?
I mean, to go back to what Thomas said, for me personally, it's more on the post-production side. So we're going to be using more of the green screen, the LED screens, and we're going to do more VFX and using AI afterwards. There's other things that we use AI for now on the television in the US, and I'm not sure if we talked about this, product placement, if you guys do that in France or not, but in America, yeah, but in America now it's very common that after the movie is shot, we give the rights to a US broadcasters, and we also give them the right, and it's written in the contract, to actually put product placement afterwards. So let's say people are having dinner on the table and they're going to put a bottle of known brand of soda on the table after the fact, and they're being paid, right? But I gave them the right to do so. So these are things like that that did not exist before, and these are new rights we're actually licensing now that did not exist. But that's again in the US, we always try to monetize as much as we can.
Now, on my side, yes, it's not only that I try to find people who have some skills. I try more to educate the team I have with me, around me, to what they should expect, what they should think of that we usually don't do, that we might be able to do, and to find this other guy that we need who will tell us, can we do that? So it's a combination of the artistic team of the production, and also some full skills that we're looking for. And as the question you were asking, what should they learn? They should learn to make movies. It's what I'm really expecting from them. If we have those machines that can create shots, okay, so let's learn how to put those shots together. Mm-hmm. Let's learn how you create emotivity, sensation to the audience. The machine will probably not do that for a long time. Right now, it's creating as many shots as you want, and your job is to put them together. So we're more looking into art form than into technical form. We need technicians to be able to make it solid, so we can use it. And on the other side, we need artists to be able to take it, but artists who really understand what making a movie is. Not only, as I had sometimes, VFX people who make the stuff and they have no clue. They just made you what you asked for. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're going through. It's to bring people that were only on the technical side, to get this feeling of what they're supposed to produce and what we are supposed to bring to the audience.
Thank you. So now let's open.
Oh, good. We go with Leo first here. No favourites. Say your name, who you are.
Leo Barraclough from Variety Magazine. 3 days ago, there was a lawsuit filed by Universal and Disney against an AI company for plagiarism. Is there a danger, or are you concerned that you may get hit with a lawsuit because you're not sure what your AI assistant has done?
The good news is we're not Disney or a big studio, so there's really no money to go after and not be happy. I read the article. It was the use of Darth Vader, Star Wars, Frozen characters. We don't have it personally, so I'm really not worried. And we're not using any known IP. We really use it as a tool to help us with our own team and our own creative human being in the company. So I personally not worried. Maybe the day we actually generate movies directly, 100% made on AI, maybe. But as of today, not yet. But I did read the article and I know what you're saying. And if I were a studio, or I guess in this case, it's actually the studio doing the lawsuit against this AI agency, there's going to be more and more of this. Absolutely, I think.
We'll ask ourselves every time we use it, so of what we're creating, how it looks, where it comes from. We probably won't have the answer. But sometimes it will look so much like something else that, or you want to take the risk and not see what you have in front of you. Or you are smart and you use a tool and you are careful of what the tool does. The tool is not supposed to do your job. You're supposed to be doing it. So use the tool and use your brain so in order not to get confronted to that. But it might happen at some point, I'm sure. Using those tools that are getting their creativity from everywhere, you might end up doing this, and I hope we're not gonna do it. And if we do, we'll have to pay. Of course, it seems normal if you end up being able to prove that you use somebody else's creation, then there is no way that you can think you can use it for free.
But I'm just going to add this also. What we do on the process, we actually pay a service to do script clearance on before even going to camera. And very often we have to change names of characters, because even though AI didn't come up with the names, we came up with them. But it could be actually, we had actually one of our movies last year. Turns out it was actually a faith-based movie, and the name we used was actually a well-known porn star, and we had no idea. So that was actually very unfortunate. Of course, we had to change the name.
To avoid the lawsuit.
To avoid the lawsuit, of course. And the problem with the audience.
Yeah. No, I would just add, I mean, it's going to be a battle, a law battle, legal battle between the big players. I have said locally that I fear more the lack of going into it than the legal battle. I think that's going to be solved, both in Europe and between these big international players. So the tools are there and they're going to be used. We have to log, and we tell people to log absolutely everything they do, and to show that it's their original scripts or prompts that they have put into to show, to like legally have the ownership and be the artistic owner of the ideas and the work that is done.